And the first one we ran was like a warm up.
I can't hear anything. Am I muted?
Like a minute and a half, minute 25.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm like, oh, even the warm up was bad.
Oh,
I'm like, oh.
Your lungs get burning. Yeah, it's a long ways.
Hey everybody. I gotta get my better camera here. I forgot. Yeah.
All good.
Yeah, I was thinking like I need the thoroughbred next to me. Push my time. You take 10.
That's right up my alley.
You guys take 10
400s.
strides and you'll be there.
Right up my alley.
Heck, I gotta take 3 strides here. 1.
Yours is on.
Yeah, all right.
Already breaking records.
Yeah, we are.
That's pretty.
Good to see many of your faces here. I think we maybe made a good decision in moving the special guest time to real outside of right in the middle of the weekend. Okay, I think everyone's muted now. So we do have some new people, actually probably half a dozen or so that have joined in the since we've had our last special guest. So welcome to our special guest segment. We used to do these on Sunday at 1 o'clock, but found that it wasn't the best time in the world. So thanks for tuning in tonight on a Tuesday. And so every week we try to have a special guest. And we've had some phenomenal special guests where they just share their stories, share their wisdom about childhood, just whatever they've gone through in life. And it's just been really awesome, not only for Eriah and I to learn from them, but you know, the reason why we do this is for all the kids and the athletes in the program and the parents. You know, we get a lot of feedback from the parents about like how awesome these special guests are. So it's just a great opportunity to grow. And we get one of our very own, Coach Eriah here. We get to put him on the hot seat tonight.
Oh yeah.
And he's just got a lot of, he's had incredible experiences in his athletic career. But, you know, it stems far beyond, you know, athleticism, but there's a lot of wisdom that we can draw from those things, you know, because they just parallel life so much. So it's going to be fun tonight because we get to, you know, you're used to Coach cranking out kettlebell swings and working hard and then barking at you. And now we get to have, you know, hear a different side of the story. So,
Yeah.
So welcome, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No, and we told the kids if they got questions, type it in the chat box. I would love to
that's right. Good
answer your questions. But this has been a really fun. This has probably been my favorite part of the whole program. It's all awesome, but just the value of the speakers we've had up to this point. Every time we get done with a speaker, we're like, man, that was
Gold.
incredible. You know, there's such a valuable lesson in each one of these people that we've talking to, and not only for the kids, but for me and Brandon as well. And one thing also, like we're learning. When we had Ray Martinez, we kind of switched around our program a little bit, took that wisdom that Ray shared with us, and now we're passing that along and you know, taking what he's learned and what he knows, and now we're passing that along to the kids. And I think the speed work is
Improving.
Improving big time, and it's absolutely incredible, so awesome. So we're all growing, we're all learning. It's a really, really cool experience. So just really excited and really it's just an awesome thing to be a part of. Yeah, really, really awesome. And hope you guys can take a little bit of value out of my story.
Oh, we will. So we will. So for those of you that aren't local to the area that we live in southeast Minnesota, La Crescent, Eriah and I both grew up here. I'm several years older than Eriah, so growing up. I remember Eriah, but he was just, just a little guy. I mean, because we're 6 or 7 grades apart, right?
Yeah, yep.
So, but I remember when I got to college and was playing sports and stuff like that. I remember hearing and watching, because I always kind of kept tabs on the Crescent sports, just because some of the best experiences and or memories I have are high school sports.
Yeah.
I just feel like nothing really, I'm competitive to this day, but nothing really was as fun as that. And it's like in its purest form, athleticism and athletics. So, but I remember keeping tabs on Eriah, in particular, his football success. I knew he was a hockey player, and I saw kind of that he was kind of tearing up in the hockey realm because my cousin played for Nick LaRue.
Yeah, lacrosse.
Played for lacrosse, and I remember going to watch my cousin play and watching Eriah kind of dominate, and then just hearing about him going through the ranks of minor league hockey and then making it all the way up to the NHL. So it's been really cool to, from afar, kind of root Eriah on, even though, we didn't have a great relationship or anything like that. But since moving back, established a friendship and a working relationship, and it's been great. And I can tell you he's world class, not only in what he's done athletically, but he's just got a heart of gold for kids. So let's find out where all that comes from. Let's dig in. So like most of our guests, we kind of start at the beginning,
Yep. Yeah. So like Brandon said, grew up here in the Crescent, down on Redwood East Street, not far from here. Grew up in the Crescent, went to school here my whole life. Went to the Crucifixion Catholic Church growing up, and it got into high school. Was always big into sports. Played 4 sports in high school. Soccer being one of them, football, baseball, and obviously hockey. So played 4 sports in high school, and had some success. So, and I actually played soccer up until my senior year and went out for football. There was a new coach in town and called me up and said, "Hey, what do you think about going out for football this year? Give it a shot." And I thought, why not? Let's do it, So my senior year went out for football, and things just kind of clicked for me. Things went really well, and I found myself getting a lot of scouts and people coming down to watch me, and I was thinking, what's going on? It was kind of crazy, and next thing I know, the University of Minnesota is at the high school with my high school coach. He was the math teacher, so he was in the room, and I'm talking to him, and I'm like, oh man, kind of put hockey in the background, and I'm like, maybe football's the way to go. But and then North Dakota State, a bunch of other teams and stuff like that. And I was at the end of the football season, I remember thinking, man, maybe this is what I'm going to do. Because I always thought, hockey was always my first love, and I always thought that was going to be the route, but football kind of just took over that for a little bit until hockey season came around, and I remembered what it was like to step on the ice and play the game, and that it kind of flipped from there. So after high school, played 4 years high school sports here, and then moved down to Topeka. So when you play hockey, you typically don't go right to college. You go to like a JUCO for baseball, or it's called junior hockey. So I actually moved down to Topeka, Kansas. Moved in with a billet family down there. Wonderful people. And my roommate, actually, he's getting married at the end of the summer. I'm in his wedding, so just an incredible relationship built there. But played in Topeka, Kansas for a year. Actually, when I first went down there, I wasn't used to the pace of the game. It was something I hadn't experienced playing high school hockey in the Crescent. We're not exactly a hockey hotbed, so to say, but I wasn't used to the pace. Systems were, we didn't run systems in high school here, but wasn't used to it. So I sat out the first 2 months. I sat in the stands and watched. And I remember I had this playbook that coach had given me, and it was all the systems and what I had to do to get into the lineup. And I remember taking that thing everywhere I went. Everywhere I was going, I was reading that playbook, you know, and just trying to figure out how am I going to get myself into the lineup and playing, because I'm down in Topeka, Kansas, essentially. I thought, maybe I'm wasting a year of my life, you know, like I'm down here to play hockey and I'm not playing. And eventually my time came, got into the lineup and never looked back, ended up leading the team in goals. Had a great year. The next year I got drafted in the USHL, which is one of the best junior leagues in the United States, by the Waterloo Blackhawks. So Waterloo, Iowa, of all places. But incredible place to play, unbelievable league. Had an incredible coach there, PK O'Hanley, and he stressed not only being a good player and doing things right on the ice, but he stressed more being a good person off the ice. You came to the rink, you wore your hat forward, you treated people with respect. Yes, sir, please, and thank you. I mean, just when you came to the rink, you were a professional, and you always said that we're gonna act like a professional. I remember that just kind of setting into me a little bit, and thinking, okay, like I need to walk the walk, you know. Like if I want to be a great hockey player, I got to be a great person too, and had to do those little things that he demanded. And he was a hard coach to play for. He was something I had never seen. You made a mistake and he let you know it. You know, he was down your throat, right in your face. You know, just kind of crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. But those kind of people also get a little bit more out of you. They kind of you dig deeper for those people, and was just an incredible guy to have in my life, and kind of wake me up to the part of not only do you have to be a good hockey player, but you have to be a good person too. From Waterloo, I got a scholarship to play at Minnesota State University, Mankato, where Brandon went to school too, and had a really good first year there as a freshman. Really good year, and got into a little bit of partying, and kind of just, I don't know. I wouldn't say I wasn't fully engaged and fully putting forth the effort. I was doing that. I just was having a little too much fun while I was there. When you go to college, it's easy to get wrapped up in things around you. But kind of had an average sophomore year, and wasn't getting the attention I was right away. I went to a few pro camps after my freshman year, one after my sophomore year. Had another average year my junior year, and after that year, my head coach had gotten fired, which ended up being probably the best thing that had ever happened to me. We got a new coach by the name of Michael Hastings. He had come from Nebraska, Omaha. And this guy is just an incredible human being. He was kind of like PK in a way that, you had to be an incredible person as well. And I'd kind of forgotten that, you get caught up in the partying and just being part of the environment you're in, and you kind of forget where you're going. And I remember him coming in, and he named me captain of the team. So it was my senior year, my last year, and he asked me what I wanted to do after my season was over. What do you want to do after this? do you want to play hockey? And I said, that'd be nice. And he said, well, you can, but you got to make some changes. You got to change the way you're living, change the way you're eating. You gotta flip upside down, because the path you're on right now, you're going down the wrong path. And he knew it, this guy didn't know anything. I didn't think he knew anything about me, but he did. I think he could see right through me, but kind of woke me up a little bit. And that guy held me accountable. I mean, if somebody was late for workout, it was on me. If somebody got caught drinking, it was on me. I took that leadership role where, I was going to pay the price for whatever anyone else did. And it was good for me. It gave me, something to think about. I held the guys accountable then, and I think they were more apt to listen to me, who's usually right alongside them. But yeah, that guy just kind of flipped my life around, and started doing things right, less partying, was treating my body better, less partying, less drinking, eating right, stuff like that, and he said, you got to get in touch with God. I remember him saying that. You got to get in touch with God, because he's got a plan for you, and you gotta find out what that is. And that was just a massive wake up call for me. And I remember from that point on, I started living my life the right way. I started taking things a little bit more serious, and that was when I decided, like, I want to do this. I didn't put in all this work, 20 years of all this work for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And from that point on, I just decided, like, this is what I'm going to do. And anybody who's going to try to stop me better get out of the way, So that's what kind of got me to that point.
That's awesome. So a couple of things that, as I'm listening to your story, that we've addressed with the kids, and it always seems to go back to chop wood, carry water, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm thinking about associations. It's easy to get mixed up, and especially with the audience we're working with right here. A lot of younger athletes, teenage athletes. It's really interesting times if you can put yourself back in those shoes, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And even at playing in junior hockey and then playing at Division I hockey, like in the best league, arguably in the country, that even then your associations can be subpar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to choose who you're around, and it's really easy to get sucked in. It's like the crab thing in chop wood, carry water, right?
Yeah.
Bucket of crabs.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
So it sounds like, there was a time, and you don't want to call your buddies a bucket of crabs, but that you were kind of hanging around with a bucket of crabs.
Yeah.
And then Mike kind of slapped you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like a Kyra sensei.
Yeah.
Like, right? Speaking into your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, our old coach, he had been there a while, and he kind of, I wouldn't say he encouraged the partying, but he just, he thought that created more like a team environment. So, we thought that was okay. It wasn't that we weren't working hard. We were working hard. We just didn't really know what hard work was, until Hastings came in and talked about the stuff off the ice and your mentality and how much that comes into play. And just being a good person on top of it. So yeah, it wasn't that we weren't working hard. We were animals in the weight room and all of that, but just the whole other side and kind of the side that we're trying to speak into the kids too with these books, because that's the edge. Anybody can go in the weight room and and lift weights and get after it, you know. But if you don't have the right mindset, you're behind. Yeah, and that was the edge for me. It was getting my mind right and figuring out what it was I wanted and walking down the right path. Because the path I was going on, I thought was right, but boy, was I wrong. And I thank God that he came into my life at that time, because I needed a wake-up call. And without him, I wouldn't have signed a pro contract. And I firmly believe that. I went from, I think I scored like 13 goals my junior year, which is pretty good. You know, it's a good year in the WCHA. But the next year, I think I was over 20, which is, you know, 20 goals in the old WCHA is just yeah, pretty outstanding. And I think that's just a statement of where he pushed me to and where he got my mind to, that I wasn't going to be denied. And yeah, it's people like those. You need those people in your life, and you need to seek them out. I wish I would have sought that person out earlier, but I was just I thought I would get there by myself, you know. But boy, was I wrong. And
so did you see a shift in your entire team's culture?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we went from, my junior year, we went from 12 and 24. My senior year, we were 24 and 12.
Say that again.
12 and 24.
Flipped it around.
Completely flipped it.
Wow.
And I'm not talking like
no big change in personnel.
Not a huge change in personnel.
Culture.
It's a culture change. And it just goes to show you, man, if you get a group of people and you get people to believe how much they can, put forth what they weren't. Right. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And in the best league in the world, going from 12 and 24 to 24 and 12. And I think he's the winningest coach in college hockey in the last 10 years since he's gone to Mankato. He's the winningest head coach there is. He wins 30 games a year now, and it's just completely flipped things around. He's an incredible person. Always like these mindset things, like the chop wood carry water, always pushing that on us. And one thing he always said was,
all right, well, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get some ice cream.
Yeah. Let us know how that ice cream tastes, Joseph.
That one thing he always said was, at the end of the day, can you look yourself in the mirror and lay your head on that pillow and go to sleep? So I remember, after a game and after, doing whatever, looking myself in the mirror and being able to tell myself I gave everything I had. That was a cool thing that he kind of passed along to me, and that I kind of lived by from there on out.
It just goes to show you, to all you guys and girls in the group, how you can be a leader that can change the dynamics and the culture of your team, no matter what level you're playing at.
Yep.
It could be, Little League baseball, all the way up to, I know we have some, Division I baseball player in here, that you can be that catalyst, that leader. And I can promise you it won't be easy.
Yeah, no, certainly
right?
not. Yeah.
I mean, a culture change like that doesn't happen overnight. And there'll always be people the haters are going to hate, as they say. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and with Brandon saying that it wasn't easy, that was one of the hardest years of my life. I remember I was just telling him about a running test that we had to do, and I think it was more of a mental, to see how far he could push guys mentally and see who. It was a test that we were pretty much set up for failure, but I think he wanted to see how far each and every one of us was going to push ourselves. And what he learned from that, I have no idea. but there's something to be said about it. But so after after my senior year, had a really good year that year, and signed a pro contract with the San Jose Sharks, which was just an absolute dream come true. Reported right to them in 2013. Went right to them, played in the AHL, and I remember I went there, and things just immediately went well for me. You know, I was in the right mindset coming off of playing for Hastings. We had made the national tournament for the first time in 12 years. Went right into the Shark system and was producing right away. It was a fun end of the year. Was able to go up with the Sharks at the end of the year and for the playoffs, and kind of hung out and got to see and meet all those guys, and so that was really cool. My next year, went to training camp, and it was my first training camp. I was nervous as all get out. You go to training camp and you're there with Joe Thornton, Brent Burns, Joe Pavelski, just huge name guys you always watched on TV, you know, and the next thing I know, I'm tying my skates with them. It's a hard thing to wrap your head around, you know. It's coming from a small town of 4,000 people, you don't ever picture yourself sitting in that spot. So, but you know, what an opportunity for me. And I think my nervousness showed in my play. Was sent down kind of right away, and you know, it took me a little bit to get into the pro game. I think I was coming off a high the year prior where things just were, you know, going well. But, you know, this was, you know, you're walking into an 80-game season, and you're playing 3 games in 3 nights, and you're bussing around. I mean, the minors is, it's a grind. It's an absolute grind. So, and it's not for the faint of heart. So I remember that season, I think I went up until December, and I wasn't producing, but I was playing really well. I felt like my game was in a good place, but the points just weren't coming. And I was frustrated, and I think my coach could see it. And he just kept telling me, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. You're doing good stuff, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. You know, you want the points, you want the points, you want the points. And other guys are going up and down. I'm thinking, man, I got to produce. You know, I got to produce. But I did what my coach said. He had me in a 3rd, 4th line role, and although the points weren't coming, I was, you know, I was playing every night. He was really happy with my play, and I think it was January of that season. I remember I was sitting in my bedroom eating a pregame meal, kind of just, I was like a robot at that point. You know, you wake up, you do the same exact thing you did the day prior. Game days, you eat the same thing. You're like a robot. I remember sitting there, I was eating my meal. I was eating pasta, and my coach called me. I'm like, what does he want? You know, what is going on? And I answered the phone. Hazy, what's up? And it's like, nothing, coach. And I thought, no way was I getting a call up. You know, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of points. I think I had like 10 points at that time in the season, and just didn't even think it was possible, you know. And he said, you're going up. And I said, going up where? He said, you're going to play in the NHL. And I remember just freaking out, you know. I got off the phone, obviously, and I remember I was like a little kid. I was sprinting around. I lived in an apartment. I was sprinting around my apartment, just going crazy, you know. I didn't think it could be real, but called my mom right away, called my girlfriend, now wife. But yeah, mom was the number one. You know, it was just an awesome feeling, and I couldn't wait to tell her. But you know, from there, I played my first game in Chicago, of all places.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so at the United Center, 22,000 people, and
Oh boy.
yeah, I remember looking back on the experience. I kind of have like this outer body experience, you know, of myself, like just standing on the bench, and because they scream during the national anthem. So the national anthem's going, they're just this screaming coming down, and I just like picture myself on the bench, but just the ultimate feeling of you made it, it's just an absolutely incredible experience. Went on to play a bunch of games that year, and kind of was back and forth. I was a bubble guy, so every day or after every game, I'd be sitting on the bus or on the plane and hoping that coach wasn't coming down the aisle to tell me I was going back down to Worcester, Massachusetts. So there'd be times I'm on the bus, I'm hiding like this, putting my head down. I hope he don't see me, thinking, if he doesn't see me, he's not going to send me down. But, yeah, thinking back, I was wrong about that. But yeah, I was a bubble guy, so I was up and back, and boy, does that kind of toy with your mindset as well. You think you're playing well up top, you're playing the role you're asked of, but really, I got an opportunity because some guys had gotten hurt, and then they get healthy, and then more guys get hurt. So it's kind of an up and down thing, and it's a roller coaster, and you got to find a way to just kind of ride in the middle. And it's easier said than done for sure. But I was up and down the whole year.
So in a perfect world, you start to climb that, and you become an NHL All-Star, and you play 15, 20 years in the league.
Yeah.
But it didn't pan out that way.
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely not.
But like Coach Hastings told you, God's got a plan.
Yeah.
So kind of take us through kind of some of the adversity that hit you, shortly after.
Yeah.
Reaching kind of the pinnacle.
For sure. Yeah. So after I was done playing with the Sharks, I had signed a professional trial with the St. Louis Blues, and was really excited just to be in a new organization. And I went into training camp feeling good, and I think it was the third day of training camp. I was going behind the net for a puck, and the goalie swung at the puck and missed it, came up and hit me in the face, and he had broken my nose, my sinus, my orbital bone, and my cheekbone. Just completely shattered my face. So that was how I started out the year in St. Louis. And so they sent me down to Chicago, where I lived with my wife, and at the time she was pregnant with our first kid. So with my face being shattered, there was no way I could play. So I sat out the first 2.5 months, where I just kind of rehabbed, stayed in shape, skated. I just couldn't get hit, so first 2.5 months I was out with that. I'd gotten back into playing a little bit, and I think I started to play well. I was 30 games into the year, and I got into a fight, which I did from time to time. Happens in hockey. It wasn't something I sought out, but when I had to do it, I did it. And if I had to stand up for a teammate or something like that, that's kind of when I would do it. I wouldn't, go looking for it. But I got in a fight, and just an average thing. And I had swung, he swung. And at one point, he fell over. He kind of lost his balance, and he fell over, and he kind of lost his hold of me. And at the last second, he reached up to kind of, I think, break his fall, and he had grabbed my jersey, and I wasn't exactly ready, and I ended up hitting my head on the boards where kind of the glass meets the wall. There's a little edge, and I'd hit my head on the wall, and I was thinking, oh no, not again. I was 30 games in, not even 2 months prior, I had my face shattered. And I went into the locker room, I skated off the ice, went into the locker room, and I knew my nose was broken. I'm thinking, no way, this can't be happening again. And I was getting stitched up. I had a big cut around my eye. I was getting stitched up, and I was getting just kind of emotional and weird things going on. So they took me into the hospital and found out I had a brain bleed. They did a CT scan and had a brain bleed, a little air getting in there, and they had to kind of shut me down. You know, they loaded me up with meds, and I think right away I knew, you know, after I'd heard that, I was thinking, this is it. You know, I remember telling my wife, like, I'm done. You know, she was pregnant at the time, and things kind of came into perspective for me. But after that, it was just a lot of rehab, a lot of just trying to get healthy. And, you know, I think my wife having a kid at the time really put things into perspective for me. And it really helped. Really, it was kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. I had a lot of concussion symptoms, vertigo, stuff like that. It was a crazy couple months after that had happened. A lot of recovering. I remember even like trying to walk for the first time. I kind of walk out of my apartment 10 to 12 steps was like the first time, and I was like done, you know. And then the next thing I'm walking around the block, it was just a crazy thing to go from, you know, this
Really
peak shape athlete, and next thing I know, I can't even walk around the block. But just it was more of a mental battle than anything. But I remember I had this thing on my phone. It was, whenever God intends to make a man great, he always breaks him into a million pieces first. I remember looking at that every day. It was just like a little reminder, like, he's got a plan, you know. And that kind of calmed me down, because it was like, you know, maybe hockey wasn't the plan, you know, maybe there's a bigger plan. And just me believing that and knowing that, really, I think that kind of put me at ease, and you know, kind of got me through that. Really, what got me through it was my wife. Here she's 8 months pregnant, taking care of me, and but
women are tougher than men.
Yeah, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, any day of the week. So just kind of getting through that, and you know, I had my wife, I had my family, thank goodness. And then obviously that faith in God, and knowing that he had a plan for me, and it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but here I am. And I think you know, this is kind of what I was put here to do, is to help kids and give them an opportunity like I was given. You know, growing up here, there wasn't always a place to train, and I used to drive a couple hours every day to train in Lakeville. I would get up in the morning here, like 4 o'clock, and I would drive to Lakeville just to train with other athletes of my caliber, and a strength coach. You know, there wasn't strength coaches around here really. So I would drive 2 hours every day, and I remember coming back here and thinking, man, like, what an opportunity it would be for kids to have that right here, you know. And so that's what these kids are getting with you know, Brandon and myself, and it's just a really cool thing. And you know, I think this was part of the plan. I really do. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not who I'm trying to think of a quote off the top of my head right now too. It's who you become in the process, man. And despite the outcome, that's why, you know, again, going back to Chop Wood Carry Water, we talk about, you know, having outcome-based goals.
Yep.
If Eriah's goal was, you know, just to be an NHL All-Star, and you can't control that, you know, injuries and you know, things, unfortunate events can happen, but that doesn't take away from who you become. So whatever your goal might be, you know, if it's varsity, if
Yeah.
it's to play collegiately, you know, some of you might be dreaming big to play professionally. I know I did when I was a kid,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, but it's about who you become. And he's become an awesome guy despite, you know, some high athletic career. You know, that's all well and good, but it didn't let it become his identity, even though you probably struggle with that. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I did.
Yep, absolutely.
But you are doing an incredible thing, you know, you really are. So it's got to be part of the big man's plan.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, there's definitely no doubt. And yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
So what do you do for fun?
So moved back to the Crescent, obviously. I have a farm right outside of town here. Wife, 2 little girls, and I have some property, so love to bow hunt, love to fish. We live in the best area in the world, I think,
I do too.
for hunting and fishing. So that's kind of what I like to do. And I obviously coach the varsity team here. It's my first year coaching this last year, so that was a learning experience for me. But just trying to take a little bit from what I've learned along the way and along my journey, and pass it along to those kids, you know.
So getting some experience in the coaching ranks now,
Yeah.
and working with kids, a lot of which are this age range that we get to work with every week with the No Athlete Left Behind. What are some of the things what are a couple pieces of wisdom that you could give that you see in kids now? I don't want to say kids nowadays, but
Yeah.
like that you see in kids that you see like, man, if I could just get through these couple things to them,
Yeah.
I know I could help them break through.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in their sport, but in life.
Yeah.
What are some things? I know that's kind of
Yeah. One thing for me is I want these kids to believe. I want them to believe that it doesn't matter where they're from, doesn't matter their circumstance. They can do whatever they want. If they want something, if you want something bad enough, you can have it. And I think I was proof to that a little bit coming from the Crescent. Your odds are against you. You know, like I said, we're not a hockey hotbed at all, but somehow I found a way, and that way was with hard work, dedication, and just not taking no for an answer. One thing that kind of fed me was all the people that said I wouldn't do it, you know, and I remember when I was weightlifting or running or whatever, if I didn't finish that rep, I wasn't going to make it, you know, just little games I would play with myself, little challenges I would throw at myself every day. You know, if you don't finish this in this long, you're not going to make it. And it would just kind of push me a little bit in the weight room. But yeah, I just want kids to know that they can do it. It doesn't matter if they're from here, if they're from Texas, Nebraska, wherever, you know, but you put in the work and you believe in something strong enough, it's going to happen.
That's good.
You know,
That's good. And what's one thing that you see them, so they believe?
Yep.
I agree. Huge. And what's one thing, at least you see in maybe in our community or just with your experiences coaching here, what are some things that gets kids distracted?
Yeah. So phones, big time.
I'm sure you've heard that from your parents.
Video games, stuff like that. I grew up in a different time, you know, but I didn't play a whole lot of video games. I was always outside. I used to shoot 100 pucks a day. That was like my fun, you know, or go for a mile run. But the video games, I just don't think there's a whole lot of value or lessons with them. You know what I mean? So if you can read books, or I used to read a lot of like self-help books, probably some pretty cheesy ones, how to become a better hockey player. And, it's just,
But
yeah, but,
the reality is most kids aren't.
yeah, yep. But, and a lot of those books just, they tell you to believe, and they tell you to tell yourself over and over and over again, you can, you can, you will. I can't remember what the book was called, but it would just it told me to tell myself over and over again, you can, you will, no matter whatever it is. If you tell yourself that enough,
The Little Engine That Could.
maybe it was, maybe it was. I don't know.
Just a book.
Just
my kids.
But if you tell yourself something,
Yeah.
over and over and over, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
More than likely. So.
I'll tell you what, Coach Eriah is hitting the nail on the head with this mindset stuff. It's one thing to have athleticism, which is obviously you need to have it. But this mindset stuff can take you so much further than elite athleticism. Eriah, we were having a conversation, I don't remember exactly when, but you were saying of some guys that were playing, I think it was at the NHL level, that you were like, they really didn't have any business being there. And I didn't play professionally, but I coached at a professional level.
Yep.
And I had a good level of athletic ability. And I remember thinking, how is this guy playing professional baseball? Yeah. And oftentimes it's because of this.
Yep, absolutely.
It's because of this. It's because they believe they should be there,
Mm-hmm.
and they do a lot of the little things.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
They play their role.
Yep.
So it's not always about being the all-star of your team. It's about playing your role really well. It's about being the leader. It's about, when it comes to, the recruiting process too.
Yep.
You think about this. So Coach Hastings comes into your program, changes the culture,
Mm-hmm.
and the wins start to happen and all those things. But let's say Coach Hastings didn't come, those wins didn't change, the culture didn't change. Do you sign a pro contract?
Absolutely not.
No.
Yep.
But a leader came in that didn't even play the game.
Yep.
And changed the whole culture. So that's just one of the things that I think that's powerful for kids to understand is you can play your role so well to help the team mold.
Yep.
And if the wins come, guess what?
Yep.
Those intangibles are things that coaches look for.
Yep.
And I'm sure you see that too with your hockey team that you coach right now. It's, those character roles are so huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though the talent isn't, not everybody is as gifted as the next, but if you can play a role, coaches want you a part of their team, whether it be a first line guy who's scoring all the goals, or whether it be kind of a role I played as a grinder, somebody that would step up for his teammates if called upon. Played simple. What I did in my game is I played a simple game. I got the pucks across lines. I got pucks deep, and some of my players in here might be going, I heard that before. But, I played a simple game. I tried to cut out as many mistakes as possible. I stayed on the ice for 45 seconds, did my job, and I got off. Yeah. But those coaches reassure you that they reassure those first line guys that they need you. And when I was a first line guy in college, I had those fourth line guys, and I knew I needed them, and just to fall back and fall back on those guys, and just have everybody believing that they are part of the team, but not only believing it, but it's. Yeah, they are, everyone is valuable, especially, I think in any sport really. Yeah. It's like the sixth man in basketball. I'm not a basketball expert, but I'm just thinking of, if you play basketball, it's like, if you're not, one of the starting five, but you come off the bench and you're the best dude coming off the bench, or the best girl coming off the bench. And if you're a baseball player or a softball player, well, maybe you don't drop bombs, maybe you don't hit for an awesome average, but you get on base. Yep.
or you move guys around, or maybe you let your defense do the talking.
Yeah.
So that's, it's obviously, hopefully you guys are probably getting the fact that it wasn't just about hockey, but I want to just help everyone understand, like, your role in your sport matters. Or, you know what? Here's one thing we talked with Coach Frichty not too long ago about kids that maybe don't get enough playing time and they quit.
Yeah.
And it's you can be, you can be such a great role player. I remember playing like high school football back when we had numbers.
Yeah.
And you can probably remember this too, several kids that probably never sniffed the field.
Yeah.
Or maybe they got some special teams playing and they just weren't as physically gifted. But they played their hearts out. They cheered for their teammates. And I remember those kids and how important and how vital they were. And if they would have quit, the culture wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
So don't quit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had a couple kids, just a quick story here.
Yeah, please.
Had a couple kids on my hockey team this year. And, they're younger kids. They'll get their opportunity at some point, but these guys weren't playing as much as other guys, and I always put them on what I call the mock penalty kill. So I put them up against our power play. And we ran a system on the penalty kill, and these two guys, right away our power play would kind of work it around and score and whatever else. Well, pretty soon towards the middle end of the year, these guys are shutting down my power play.
In practice?
Yeah, in practice, they're shutting them down. I'm thinking, man, I got to give these guys a go, like maybe killing penalties is their thing.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the kids is
watching right now.
Watching right now. So, but just a really cool thing to see these kids catch on and develop and run this system to an absolute T, to where no matter who it was on the power play, that they weren't going to have a sniff, So toward the end of the year, I put these kids out on the ice, and I think everybody in the stands, everybody on the bench is going, "Are you nuts?" But and even my assistant coach, and I'm thinking, watch, just watch, and killed off the penalties. Against a really, really good high caliber team whose power play we couldn't shut down. These guys were shutting them down. It's just a really cool thing. And that's the role that comes into play again, is your role on a team. And these guys were just so awesome on the bench, always rooting for guys, always in a positive, always had a positive attitude, just huge role players. And, they could have got, they could have shut down. They could have quit if they wanted to. I wasn't playing them, but they kept after it. They paid attention in practice, and they ran this system to a T. And it was just really cool to see that kind of pay off for them. But maybe if they get good at penalty killing, coaches are looking for those guys. It's an art in hockey, is killing a penalty. So just little things like that can get you noticed and get you to the next level. So
that's good stuff, man. Well, we're approaching. Let's see here. Thank you for. So let's spend the next few minutes. If you have questions, type them in the chat box. But McMurtry's, other than reading, which we will do, what can we as kids do daily to sharpen our mindset as a person and as a competitor?
What can we do to sharpen our mindset? Reading is a big thing for me. Another thing that I've done in the past is I'll get up early, really early, and I kind of do these morning pages. I kind of write out what my day is going to be like and how I want it to go, and I try to keep it, as positive as possible. And one thing I found, that when I would get up and write about my day and how I wanted it to go, or write about the day prior, what I could have done better, I found that my days would go that way, or would go in that positive
So you're saying like journaling or?
Yeah, journaling. Yeah. So I'd get up early before, anyone was up, 4:30, whatever, and just do a quick little mindset.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I want my day to go. This is what I'm going to do to make it happen. And the next day kind of write about how the day prior went, and then write about, that day. And it doesn't have to be long, just a little thing about what you're going to get done today, what you're going to do today. And that's one thing that helped me a lot.
Yeah. I'll say, not putting too much pressure on. One thing that's helped me anyway is just not putting pressure on myself. Is like as a competitor and just as in business and life, is just God's in control. So I just got to do my best, and whatever shakes out, and I can handle it.
Yep.
It's a good question. Anyone else got any more for Coach? This is awesome stuff, man.
Have you read Miracle Morning?
Heard of Miracle Morning.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got that journaling thing. Yeah. Like morning pages.
So it's like a devotional.
Yeah, essentially.
Kinda.
Yep.
Well, cool.
Awesome.
Well, Coach,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing your
No.
journey and
Thanks for,
adversities and another one.
what's your favorite workout? Ooh.
400s. No,
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No, not running, that's for sure. Favorite workout? I don't know. I kind of got into CrossFit there for a while. I thought that was my favorite, but getting back into this thing, I kind of like Turkish get-ups. Those have been like my newest. It changes from time to time, but I think I like Turkish get-ups. What's the thing that helped you get to the NHL the most? I think changing my mindset, and then kind of going into the little details of the game. I kind of started dissecting the game a little bit. I told Brandon, I think I was a little obsessed with it. I used to watch video of myself, like a game prior or whatever, and just dissect it. But watching video, seeing where I made a mistake, and seeing that for me, and then correcting that or knowing what to do. It's easy to go back and watch yourself make the mistake, but then watching the video and making the correction and seeing yourself make the mistake really helped for me. But just dissecting, watching more video, that really kind of took my game to the next level. How did you mentally shake a lousy game performance? Well, you gotta have a short-term memory. The higher you get, the more that comes into play. You gotta put the prior game past you. You gotta put your head down at night and you gotta forget about it. Start fresh every day. Every day is a new opportunity. Every game's a new opportunity. So if you had a bad one, just tell yourself over and over and over and over again, the next one's going to be my best one, so
Positive self-talk.
yeah, just tell yourself over and over, next one's going to be my best one, or I'm going to improve.
Did your pregame routine involve body and mind?
Okay. Pre-game routine. Ooh. Yeah, I was a little obsessed with this too. I'd get up at the same time. I'd eat 3 eggs and turkey bacon, go to the rink. I'd stretch out for like 25 to 27 minutes. And I'm telling you, that was on the button.
Really?
Yep. Go on the ice. I'd usually skate for like 10 to 15 minutes, just get like a little bit of a drip, get off, stretch again for like 10 more minutes. I'd roll out for like 10 minutes. I'd go home, make a meal. Usually it's pasta and chicken. Actually, most of the time it's pasta and chicken. And then I would take an hour and a half nap. So I'd take an hour and a half nap. I'd get up, go for a walk for like 20, 30 minutes, just kind of go for a walk and mentally kind of visualize my game, kind of walk myself through situations, what I was going to do that night. And then I would make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'd eat that sandwich on the way to the game or way to the rink. I'd get to the rink 2.5 hours early. And then again, just go to the rink, hang out, have some coffee, and tape my sticks up, kind of go through the same routine. I used to put my gear on left to right.
You're one of those guys.
Oh, yeah. Put my gear on left to right. And, just get ready to do the same thing kind of I had done 2 days prior or whatever, just kind of go into robot mode. And if you found one thing or one meal that was really working for you, you'd go with it for a while. And but yeah, that was kind of my routine.
Warmed up, you warmed up well, you fed yourself well.
Yeah, that's the best thing to say to yourself to keep the right mindset. Yeah, that you can and you will. And then I like I am statements too. I forgot about I am statements, but just kind of reassure yourself that whatever it is you're seeking to be, tell yourself you can do it and you will do it. And just over and over and over again, you got to say it to yourself, and then you got to start believing it.
What's the I am statements?
So I am statements is kind of something I wrote down, like, who am I, and or like, what am I about? And my I am statements are like, I am willing. I am willing to, whatever it is, I'm willing. Another one is I am wired to win. And just those little, just little reminders, and you tell yourself those things over and over, it's going to put you in the right mindset. So I forgot about my I am statements. I used to.
That's such good stuff, everyone. I mean, it might sound like almost cliche, but you can easily tell yourself the wrong things, and you wire yourself the wrong way.
Most of the time you are telling yourself the wrong things. The self-doubt. Or, you had a bad game. That's going to live in your brain. I struggled with that for a while. And those things of reassuring myself and telling myself the same thing over and over and over again.
Notice how Coach said, tell myself. So he's talking to himself, chop wood, carry water again. Talking to yourself and not always listening to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah, you listen to yourself, you're going to get into some trouble, man. That's where the enemy plays, man. The enemy plays and the self-doubt creeps in. Are you guys watching The Last Dance?
Yeah. It's the Bulls documentary.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, not right now, but
I want to watch it.
I have watched most of them. I'm behind one or two. So yeah, I don't know if there's a follow-up question to that, other than Michael Jordan is a ridiculous competitor. And if you want to understand a winning mindset, watch Mike. I mean, whoa.
I'm excited. I got to find a way to watch it.
It's good.
Yeah.
You don't have.
No, we got the antenna.
On the boondocks, baby.
Yeah. We're living off the grid.
That's good though, man.
You betcha.
Love it out there. Well, cool. That's awesome. Thanks for the questions, guys. I mean, that helps me as the guy talking to Coach. And just remember, you guys have a voice. Like, the more interaction that we get, it's just awesome when you guys are interacting. I know you just get so much more out of it. And I know Coach Eriah and I both surely appreciate it too. Because we want to engage and interact with you. It makes it so much more fun. And, I know we know what we're doing is of value and matters a great deal, but to see it in action really helps. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So, Coach, any closing thoughts?
No, absolutely not. Like Brandon said, reach out to us, use us as a resource. I wish I would have had something like this when I was growing up, when I was your guys' age. I feel like you have a little bit of an edge, but reach out to us, please. Ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, show us movements.
Yep. And in that WhatsApp group, you can message coach or myself. I think you can even call.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever even wanted to call.
Yep. Absolutely.
So just know that that's like Coach said. It's you got world-class NHL athlete, coach, awesome human being, dad, husband, you know,
same goes
mentor,
for this guy, yeah.
all those things accessible to you. So take advantage of it. But it's 9:05. Thanks for hanging out with us. And Coach, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, be ready to work tomorrow.
Be there. Oh.